Welcome to the Living Farms podcast, where voices from around the world come together to shape the future of biodynamic agriculture.
Hello, dear friends. We are very happy today to be with Iris Stoker. She is working on an aspect of agriculture that is very important to us. One of the main surprises when you first read the agriculture course is that you find that the cosmic influences on the earth and on agriculture are so powerful, so present. It's something that surprises many people. And then we move from thinking, is this old thinking? How can we make this contemporary thinking? How can we understand this, that it is not something that is outside of science, that is something that we can perceive in the land and that we can work with in the calendar work, etc. So today we invited Iris because she has been working on these questions for some years, and she started her work in the school. She was there for 10 years in Göttingen in Germany. And she was also started doing plant breeding. So she was really in the midst of pedagogy and practical astronomical work with plant breeding. She attended the agriculture course in Emerson College in Great Britain, where she also learned the method of copper chloride crystallization. So she has also this aspect where you can see the effect of what she is doing in the field as experiments related to cosmic influences and then test them in land. Later, she worked as a teacher for biology and English in Witten. And besides the teaching, she also carried out biodynamic gardening and astronomical observations. Since 2023, she has actively participated in mathematical and astronomical section at the Göttingen, and that is precisely where I met her. I saw her presentation and I thought, oh, we have to invite her to share her knowledge and her viewpoint to share with other farmers. So I'm very, very happy, Iris, to have you here today, and welcome to this podcast. Of course, the main theme of this moment that we are dealing with it in the podcast has to do with the cosmic influences. And I would ask you if you could give us an astronomical overview. Can you give us an introductory overview of the cosmic influences on the agriculture work? Welcome, Iris.
Hello, a warm welcome from my side, and I would like to start with the first two lectures of Rudolf Steiner's agricultural course, because it was quite astonishing for the participants of that course. At the beginning, Steiner states that the plant or the whole agricultural individuality is situated between the terrestrial situation and the cosmos. And that mainly the planets, the sun, the moon, and the 5 visible planets, that they transmit some of these cosmic forces, which are, of course, astral in the sense of coming from the stars, but they are transmitted through the planets in some kind of formative forces. And when we look at the wording Rudolf Steiner is using, you find that he has really difficulties in finding the proper expressions for it. He speaks of 4 qualities that are transmitted by the planets, and mainly what I'm referring to is the qualities that are brought about by the stars to the plant life. And in the first lecture, he is talking about the 2 polar qualities of reproduction, which means bringing forth a new plant of the same kind, And the other quality is the nutritiousness. I hope it's appropriate translation from the German Nährhaftigkeit. And in a way, Steiner talks about that it should be of no meaning to the plant whether it's eaten by animals or man, or whether it's just producing seed to reproduce itself. But on this higher level, on this cosmic level, Steiner is looking at the plant. It is quite a difference whether the plant is just using the forces for the own reproductiveness, or whether it is using it to give it to another living being.
Yeah, we are so lucky because when we think of the cosmic influences and we say, okay, but where do I see these influences in the field? How can I really um, prove that there are influences in the field? Where are they? And what you are bringing to us right now that comes from the course is very clear. It goes directly into the reproduction and the nutrition of the plant. That is where the influences are manifest. And with that we can work, we can test them. No, this is very clear.
Yes. And where do we see this? This comes to the things that Steiner is speaking of, the polarity of these two main minerals, which are active in the soil and also in the underlying rocky ground beneath. And this is limestone and silica. And especially he is talking about these so-called outer planets, which circuit around the Earth, far from the Earth. These are Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, which have a cycle longer than 1 year, longer than the Sun takes to circle around the Earth. And these three planets give their influence through silica and siliceous substances into the plant, into the agricultural individuality. Whereas the other three planets, the Moon, Venus, and Mercury, they transmit their influence from the cosmos through water and chalky or limestone substances, which is a salty substance, and so as all salty substances is soluble in water, whereas silica and siliceous substances are not soluble in water. And so we have these two minerals mainly on which Rudolf Steiner is speaking, at that three planets near to the Earth, Moon, Venus, and Mercury, that they are connected with these limestone substances and that they work into reproduction of plants, mainly in the growth, first of all, but the growth is enhanced into the possibility of bringing forth a new plant of its kind. Whereas the three other planets, the outer planets, and they bring about the nutritiousness, this quality which expresses itself in color and aromatic taste of the plant. And these outer planets, they can't directly work on the plant life, but they work in that way that their forces are caught by silica in the ground and then brought upwards through the stem into the flowers and seeds of the plant.
Yeah. it's quite important what you mentioned, because this is part of the thinking that when we go into the course, we have to go and beginning of a change of paradigms. Not only this, but at the same time we are beginning to understand what is Steiner bringing through this with this language and these ideas, like the idea of substance that of course comes from the ancient times, but Steiner takes it to a new level, and the influences through substance and through mineral to the plant. This already starts shaping our understanding of the living planet in a very different way, and we start seeing that these influences are definitely manifest in the world through the substances and the minerals, and express themselves in the plant. So this gives us a very clear understanding, although it's subtle, and it requires a change of understanding. This is very clear as we go into studying anthroposophy and biodynamics.
Yes. And moreover, it's even more difficult than it seems at the beginning of the course, because when he later comes back to this polarity of these two qualities of the outer and the inner planets, then he suddenly turns it around at the inner planets, which he mentioned work directly through the leaves and the moist air onto the plant, that in the sixth lecture, it's the other way around. These inner planets, these near-Earth planets, they work indirectly through limestone and water from underneath the soil surface up into the plant and enhance the reproductive capacity of the plant, whereas the outer planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, they not only work through the siliceous substances from the ground upwards, but also directly when the fruit is growing and becoming ripe. Then it's a direct influence of these outer planets onto the ripening fruits and seeds. And these influences of the outer planets there bring about not only the nutritious qualities to the seeds, but also cosmic shaping power.
Yeah, this is quite remarkable.
This is a new wording, what he is talking about in the sixth, seventh, and eighth lecture there. And according to this new wording, the cosmic shaping power, there he is also speaking of earthly matter or the terrestrial substantiality. And in other contexts, Steiner also said that the plant in its shape, it's not something which you can see with your physical eyes, but it's something super uh,
Sensible.
sensible. But what you see with your eyes is not the shape, but only the shape filled with earthly matter.
Yes. This is so beautiful. During the course, if you pay attention, and of course every time you read it, he is constantly making us, inviting us to research, inviting us to think differently, inviting us to understand the world reality beyond our physical senses, and starting to explore different aspects that manifest and that can be perceived by the human being. Even as we start in, let's say, developing our soils, there will be other manifest aspects until we can say we are producing humus. And then we have a totally different substance out of the work that we do, taking into account these polarities that you are describing, and working with them and the composites, etc. So it's very remarkable. Thank you for pointing this out, because Steiner is constantly challenging us and bringing new things from different aspects, and it's quite a beautiful path. Is there anything else you would like to bring as, let's say, a overview of the influences of the astronomical aspects in agriculture? I know this is a very short aspect.
Yes, I would like to talk about my work in breeding plants. I worked with grains as well as with vegetables, and also forestries. And we used these four qualities which are connected with the four formative forces. So the connection is that nutritiousness and the cosmic shaping power, these two qualities are related to warmth and light, the warmth ether and the light ether, whereas the reproductive capacity of the plant and the capacity to fill itself with earthly matter, these are the two qualities which are related to the chemical and the life ether. So when we looked at the ears of the grains, for instance, we could look at them that they are from the stalk, from the straw, to the tip of the ear, that you have sometimes ears which are totally parallel, all the grains equally in size and shape, from the bottom to the top of the ear. And there are other ears that start with big grains at the bottom and very small, sometimes not anymore germinating,
Not fertile, yeah, unfertile.
so that you have a more conic shape of these ears, which express that they are more filled with earthly matter and are
Less influenced by the cosmos, I guess. Yeah.
under the influence of these near Earth planets, whereas the parallel and very long ears that they are created by the more cosmic forces of the far planets. And for breeding, we always tried to change between in one year we sowed the grain very early in autumn so that there are still the summer influences on the plant growth, and then they shape the more conic ears
Mhm.
which are full at the bottom and very small at the top of the ear. Whereas when we sow late in autumn, so that the plant gets a lot of winter influence, then the whole shape of the plant and especially also of the ear and the grain itself have more of these cosmic qualities. You can see that when the plant is ripening, the straw colors very in golden or light yellow colors, and the grains are also very colorful and have some aromatic substances. And these are the grains that are very good for next year's sowing, so that you always have this that you use the polarities in order to always alter between the summer influenced sowing and the winter influenced sowings.
Yes, this is something that allows us to try different aspects and to actually observe things, and we can first understanding from, let's say, rational understanding of the principles, but once we produce it and we create an experiment and see the forces manifest, is the time when we can really integrate this into ourselves and then become move into the realm of imagination of how these processes are working inside the plant, these two polarities that you are mentioning. I think this is very important. Did you publish these results? Can we have access to that?
Well, this is quite difficult because this association is no longer active, and all these publications, they are inside the association, but it never came to a book by Georg Wilhelm Schmidt, who wanted to publish it but never managed to do so.
Well, I hope you can find a way to recover them so we can share them with many people. This is very important to see it manifest.